From his lethal crossover to his signature on and off court style, Allen Iverson was one of the most electric and iconic players in NBA history. He's involved in some of the most iconic moments in all of basketball, including in the 2001 NBA Finals in Game 1, where he stepped over Tyronn Lue after making a clutch shot and finishing the game with 48 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists to leave his heavily undermatched Philadelphia 76ers to a Game 1 win over the crazy good, crazy stacked Los Angeles Lakers with Shaq and Kobe. He finished that final series averaging 35.6 points per game and 3.5 assists per game, while leading his team that wouldn't have been a playoff team otherwise all the way to an NBA Finals appearance. Allen Iverson was in an era where Kobe Bryant, Tracy McGrady, Dwayne Wade, and Vince Carter were all in their primes as well, which made his job as a shooting guard facing off against these guys night in and night out even more difficult. And yet he was still able to rise to the top and make a career where he is known as a top 5 scorer of all time. And that came at being only 6 feet tall, and that's being generous as it is. And Allen Iverson had a stretch from 1999 to 2008 where he was absolutely dominant. In that 10-year period, he averaged over 30 points a game 5 times, which is an absolutely incredible mark, especially for how low scoring was throughout that era. And while he was not the most efficient player, he could still get a bucket on absolutely anybody, and it was as clutch as anybody ever was in that era. And he led poor Philadelphia 76ers teams to deep playoff runs and one NBA Finals appearance against the Lakers where they were just overmatched. And yet he was still able to average 35 points a game in that Finals appearance and didn't shy away from the big moment, as in Game 1, he hit that iconic shot over Tyronn Lue and was able to steal a win for his team. But even though that him and the Philadelphia 76ers weren't able to win that series, it'll still go down as one of the greatest all-time performances by a single player throughout a playoff run and even throughout a finals appearance. And obviously looking at the series score being 4-1 for the Lakers, you wouldn't think that the losing team had an MVP candidate on it, but there's a good chance that Allen Iverson could have actually won finals MVP on the losing team, averaging 35 and 5 throughout that entire series. As lethal and iconic as his crossover and finishing ability were, Allen Iverson's off-court style and on-court style may have been just as iconic, if not more iconic. And his use of headbands, wristbands, clothing styles as he entered the arena, pre-game outfits, and his use of cornrows were iconic in an era where not a lot of players were allowed to freely express themselves through their clothing and through their on-court accessories. But Allen Iverson pushed through that and allowed his own personal style to come out, and it revolutionized an era of basketball where it had been very strict and formal prior. And lots of NBA fashion is known to be attributed to Allen Iverson because of how ahead of his time that he actually was in those years as a Philadelphia 76er. And he made a lot of this stuff cool, wearing a headband, wearing certain clothes and whatnot. But Allen Iverson has to be one of the most iconic players, both on court and off court, in NBA history. And when you say the answer, you automatically think AI Allen Iverson. Anyways, let me know where you think he ranks all time in terms of shooting guards. God bless you all. I hope you have an amazing day, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. God bless.